member of Valley Allies and also a board member of MIA. And this question comes from Amy Engebretson, who is also an MIA board member. She wasn't able to make it here today due to work constraints, but what she says is the longer the shutdown lasts, the more the media is starting to blame both sides equally for the shutdown. I've been hearing this a lot. The president insists and the Democrats won't budge. Since this is a national crisis, it seems the Democrats in Congress need to be doing everything they possibly can every day to end the shutdown. Is it possible for Nancy Pelosi to introduce a new bill every day to reopen the government? Just like she did on the first day of Congress. She looks like a hero on that day, even though most people knew it wouldn't pass the Senate. If she did this every single day and made the House Republicans vote on it every day, she would likely gain some of their votes. The pressure on them would be immense. It would help also to change the narrative that the Democrats aren't trying to end the shutdown. Do you think something like this is possible? And what, as a Congresswoman, do you do about it? And again, it might be a procedural thing, but we're kind of curious.
Well, and remember, we voted on 2 items that first day. It was a package of 6 appropriations bills that would have opened up every other department of the government, and then we put a continuing resolution on the House floor that would have funded Homeland Security through that first week of February. On Friday, we came back and we did exactly what your friend just suggested. We started just singularly funding different departments of the government. So I took several votes on Friday that would do exactly that, fund some of the, breaking them apart, one at a time. And we're gonna keep doing that. And I'll tell you, by the end of the day yesterday, we had on those bills between 7 and 13 Republicans crossing the aisle every single vote to vote with us. And so that's exactly what Speaker Pelosi has been doing. And again, I've learned real quick, I don't ever speak for anybody but me. But that is exactly the strategy, is we're just going to keep voting to open the government. This thing really is in the Senate's hands right now. Is the Senate going to do the right thing, or are they going to continue to not be willing to stand up to an administration that seems to be intent on keeping the government shut down for as long as possible? So, you know, this is in Mitch McConnell's hands as far as I'm concerned. If he brings this thing to the floor of the Senate, I believe there is a distinct possibility that this will pass. So we need to bring it.
The allies can do, and I mean, I know it's kind of a Mitch McConnell, it's in the ball's in his court. Being outside of his constituency, are there things that we can do on our end to push this, to amplify it, to...
Every senator in this country should be hearing from our allies, bring the House bill to the floor. Bring the bills to the floor. Because if we get the bills to the floor on the Senate side, that's where the leverage is right now. And again, I think the key here, and you asked the question in 2 ways a moment ago. One was about border security. The other was about, how do we cross the aisle? How do we start talking again? And what I can tell you, at least from my perspective, is last Wednesday, Senator Klobuchar hosted a lunch in her office. She does this on a regular basis among the entire Minnesota delegation. And so we were there with Pete Stauber, with Jim Hagedorn, we were there with Tom Emmer, and then the rest of us. I had an opportunity during new member orientation to sit down with some of my Republican colleagues and have some conversation about where do we think we can work together. I think infrastructure investment is probably the best example of where there's lots of agreement about where the nation should be spending its money. I think there are other areas with some of my Republican colleagues, things like funding for special education in this country, opioid addiction and mental health issues. So my goal is going to be, no matter how much I disagree with any of my Republican colleagues on certain issues, that will not prohibit me from working together where we can find common ground. And that's what I'm taking into the Congress, and hopefully enough freshmen on both sides of the aisle are looking for ways in which to work together. And I've found a number of Republican freshmen from other districts are looking for exactly the same thing. So it's an awfully big freshman class. We have 85 new members of Congress. 63 of those are Democrats, and the rest are Republicans. And of those 63 Democrats, 42 of us are women.
Woo!
And 40 of us took formerly Republican-held seats.
Yeah.
So just remember, there's an awful lot of us there who both have a lot to learn, but also are bringing fresh energy and fresh perspective to the U.S. Congress. So, I'm just so honored to be serving with so many historic firsts in this nation, including the first 2 Native women to ever serve in the United States Congress. So it's just an extraordinary class, and it's an honor to be with them. I made a little history when I won, and then I'll just wrap up, Dan. The history I made was, and I don't think I appreciated it till the moment my wife Cheryl got her spouse pin. You hear that you've made history, that you're first, but Cheryl was the one who made history. She is the first woman married to a woman who ever received a spouse pin in the history of the U.S. Congress. And, I happen to also be the first lesbian mother to ever serve, but we have 4 boys, and they're 21, 21, 21, 20, and 15. And they're not very impressed. Okay, Mom, that's nice. But so a lot of firsts in this Congress, and I think that the main thing that you should know about all of us is we're really committed to doing the work that we said we would do on behalf of Minnesotans and on behalf of Americans. And so, again, thank you so much. And Ken Martin, thank you for just everything you built from a DFL perspective. It's just an honor to be here today with you. Thank you.